Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is a morning update. This morning, we're going to dive into the picture that Virginia Roberts took with Andrew at the Belgravia home of Ghislaine Maxwell. We hear from an expert now about the picture, a man who has seen the picture, who saw it, one of the first people to see the picture, in fact, and we're going to hear from him in an interview that he did with Women's Day. So we're going to jump into that article in a couple of minutes here, and we're going to see what he has to say. When it comes to that picture, it's pretty ludicrous for Andrew to claim that it's fake. First of all, when the picture was first taken in 2001, there wasn't much photoshopping going on. People really weren't at that stage. And if you think this young girl was photoshopping this picture in 2001, well, you're probably a monarchist. Because any sane, normal human being who has even just a bit of understanding of how the world worked back then understands that nobody was sitting around photoshopping their pictures. All right? Now, people might have been taking just those headshots so you didn't see their body or whatever, but nobody was photoshopping pictures. So this photographer is going to give us a little bit more context on the picture from his point of view, from his professional standpoint. And again, we all know that I love context around here. Context is the most important thing of this story. It's the glue that holds everything together. If we don't have the proper context, how can we have the proper information? And if we don't have the proper information, well, we certainly don't have the proper context. So, hopefully this article will give us a little bit more of that, and it will hopefully put to bed this whole entire nonsensical defense that the picture was changed, that the picture was edited, the picture was photoshopped. We all know that's not the case. Look, we all know at the very least Andrew was there at the Belgravia home of Ghislaine Maxwell with an underage girl with his arm wrapped around her. Fact. All right, there's no gray area there. There's no, oh, well, maybe it's not his arm. Those aren't his sausagey fat fingers. No, they are. That's his arm. That's him. They're at her home. And why were they there? Why is a 17-year-old girl in London without her parents? With two sickos. Two sick, depraved pervs. I don't have the answer to that question. But I'm asking it. Why would she be with these two people? Prince Andrew, to act like he doesn't know is just beyond the pale. To act like the picture is fake is even more disgusting. What did you think that this little girl was doing? What do you think, that she was there with them because they were going to take her to Disneyland in Paris after they stopped by Buckingham Palace for some tea and crumpets? You knew exactly what was up, Andrew. Your participation was definitely something that can't even be debated at this point. We've seen the picture. It's not fake. You were there. Your arm was around an underage girl that was being sex trafficked by one of the most prolific sex traffickers in the whole entire world. Are you kidding me right now? Your defense is the picture is fake? Well, this photographer who's seen the picture is about to once again make Prince Andrew look like the dullard he is, the bumbling buffoon, the Bush of the Windsor clan, the George W. of the Windsor clan. What a good job you've done in your life, Andrew. You've really been a trailblazer for other scumbags. If you'd like to contact me, folks, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. All right, so let's dive into this article. Headline: Kiwi photographer's proof. The photo of Prince Andrew and Virginia Roberts is not fake. Prince Andrew has publicly called into question the authenticity of an incriminating photo of him and the 17-year-old. Kiwi photographer Michael Thomas has seen the original and tells his story. With more than 30 years of experience behind him, covering everything from war zones to Olympic Games, the Cannes Film Festival, and Princess Diana's funeral, Kiwi news photographer Michael Thomas has plenty to be proud of. Acknowledged for his technical work and mastery, as well as keeping a cool head in the most demanding and sometimes dangerous circumstances, he has earned his reputation among hard-to-impress picture editors. All right, so they're laying out a little bit of his resume here, all right? 30 years of experience behind the lens, covering everything from the Olympics, film festivals, Princess Diana's funeral, you name it. This guy has been there. All right? And he's impressed all these wonky picture editors with his work as well. So, now we have Michael Thomas, this gentleman, Michael Thomas, telling us that the picture is not fake, while unnamed sources around Prince Andrew saying it's fake. Who are you going to believe? Again, folks, I need to see receipts. All right? I need to see receipts. But Michael's long and distinguished career, he realizes with a wry smile, is now defined by just one picture, one he can't even claim to be his own work. I have done some serious stories over the years and taken thousands of pictures in Iraq, Sierra Leone, Pakistan, and Afghanistan, he says at his Arrowtown home. But the only one that is going to be remembered is one I'd copied from a cheap print lying on a hotel room table. Michael's concern, however, is not for his own legacy, but for the fate of the woman in the picture, Virginia Roberts. So this Michael guy, this photographer, doesn't care about anything except for Virginia Roberts in this case. He doesn't care about his legacy, none of that. All he cares about is the fate of Virginia Roberts. That's what we call an ally, folks. That's what we call somebody who stands up and says, you know what, this shit is wrong. Somebody needs to make a stand. For in 8 years since he had his colleague from Britain's Mail on Sunday, for in the 8 years since he and his colleague from Britain's Mail on Sunday became the first journalist to see it, it has become one of the world's best-known images, one at the center of a labyrinth of criminal and civil legal battles, and one whose repercussions for the British royal family seem limitless. Limitless is not enough. I want eternal embarrassment for these people. Eternal embarrassment. It shows, of course, Virginia at the age of 17 standing next to Prince Andrew in March 2001 at the London home of publishing tycoon Robert Maxwell's daughter, Ghislaine Maxwell, and predator Ghislaine Maxwell, who beams in the background. It was taken by Ghislaine's sometimes boyfriend, pedophile billionaire Jeffrey Epstein, shortly after the foursome returned from an evening at Tramp nightclub, and according to Virginia, just minutes before she was induced into having sex with Andrew for the first of 3 times. Doesn't that make you feel dirty every time we read that? Every time we rehash that, doesn't it make you feel dirty? Think about it for a minute. Put yourself in her position. These predators, she's on a plane, she's living this life of lavishness, all sorts of money, all sorts of things, material things. But really what was going on is she was being abused, and she was so well groomed that she didn't realize it at first. None of these girls did. None of these little girls, these that were given $200 to come over and massage him. None of these girls that were given $200 to come over for a massage who ended up being sexually assaulted. None of them expected that. To even think that these girls knew going in with their eyes wide open what they were going to get, what was going to happen to them, is absolutely and completely out of touch. Have you not ever been 15? Have you not ever been 16? $200 is a lot of money, especially if you come from a broken home and you have no dough, especially if you have plans, especially if you want to go on a vacation, especially if you need to keep up with the Joneses and get those new shoes. So don't demean these young girls, because that's what they try to do. That is exactly what they try to do. The prince and his aides have belatedly tried to cast doubt on the authenticity of the photograph, insisting he was eating pizza with his daughters that evening, had never been upstairs at the house, doesn't remember ever meeting Virginia, and never had sex with her. He's been upstairs in that house, might have eaten pizza, definitely remembers Virginia Roberts, and certainly have had sex with her according to her. So, what exactly has this guy told the truth about? Maybe that he has daughters. I guess that's a little bit of the truth. But as far as in this case, what exactly has Prince Andrew told the truth about? Not a goddamn thing. All this guy has done is lie and throw up smoke screens and worry about my standing within the British family. Nobody cares about you or your stupid British family, all right? A handful of people care. Everybody else, guess what they care about? They care about putting food on their table, they care about protecting their families, and they care about putting sick bastard predators in jail. How about that, Prince Andrew? Chew on that. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, Mr. Mountbatten. You can't prove whether or not the photograph is faked because it's a photograph of a photograph of a photograph, Andrew told BBC's Newsnight. Unnamed friends have suggested the picture might have been doctored, citing how chubby they say the prince's fingers appear. Well, I have a chubby pinky right now. I broke my finger yesterday, so what does that... I guess I couldn't be me. I got chubby fingers too. These excuses are just so stupid. I don't even understand. Like, is this like a legitimate excuse? Like, do people really buy this excuse? Because I don't think anybody does. His friends coming out and talking about he has chubby fingers, and what are they, all picture experts now? They're all forensic photograph experts? No, you're a bunch of bootlickers. You're a bunch of clown bootlickers who would do anything your buddy the prince asked you to do because you want to increase your station in the world. Sick people. The excuses and obfuscation have done nothing to salvage Andrew's career as a front-rank royal and cut no ice with Michael. Michael is the expert in this article, remember. It's ridiculous, he says. The FBI have had it for 8 years, and at no time have they said it's a fake. If it was a fake, why is Andrew not suing the Mail on Sunday? You can imagine working for them what we went through to make sure the story was legally sound. I spent weeks with Virginia and her family, and I never had any doubts that what she told us was the truth. How many times do we have to hear people say this? How many more people have to come forward and say that Virginia Roberts is telling the truth before these people are all brought to justice? Underwear wearing Dershowitz, the Crypt Keeper, all of these cats. Enough is enough. We have so many people coming out and saying that this was going on, that this girl's telling the truth, and there is no repercussions. Nobody's in jail. How is that possible? The only two people that are standing trial, the only two people that are in trouble are the two guards who fell asleep? Unacceptable. For Michael, the story that has shaken Buckingham Palace to its core began, like so many others in his 25 years working for the Mail on Sunday, both in London and New Zealand, with an order to get on a plane with little info on the task ahead. It was one of those ones where they don't tell you much, he says, and I wouldn't claim credit for it because it had been sorted in advance by the reporter Sharon Churcher. I took a flight to Sydney and drove up the coast to where Virginia lived with her husband Robert and their 3 kids. It was an old house in the suburbs, and she was living a simple Australian life. They didn't have much money. I think Robert was working as a bricklayer. We knocked on the door. They were expecting us, and we sat on the patio, and they discussed what might happen. Virginia was very likable, a very nice girl telling a very awful story. She was certainly traumatized from all that had gone on in the past, and she was very anxious, very scared. Epstein had a bottomless pit of money, and she was terrified about what the repercussions could be. She definitely wanted her story told, but she was terrified of his power. There is no way in the year 2020 anyone should be terrified of a man like Jeffrey Epstein. But when he is enabled by the police department, when he is enabled by the federal authorities, when he is enabled by judges and politicians and royals and scientists and everybody who is in power, well, this is what you get. He gets away with whatever he wants. And he only got caught when his handlers decided that they were done with him. Do you really think that he wouldn't have gotten off again if his handlers decided to get him off? The Andrew picture was just one of 12 that Virginia kept in an envelope and which Michael was asked to copy. I realized it was a big picture in relation to what she was saying, but I never thought it would be as important as it has turned out to be because of the accusations about it, which haven't come until years and years later. The Mail, who reportedly paid Virginia $160,000 for her story, ran the article in March 2011, shortly after another British tabloid had published a picture showing Andrew walking in New York Central Park with Epstein, despite his conviction on underage prostitution charges. $160,000, huh? That's not bad. That's not bad. I'm glad that she got that money for it. When you're abused the way this girl was, and you have no recourse, and somebody offers you that sort of dough, you take it. You're not getting any justice in the justice system. So you take that money if it's coming to you. That's my opinion. I'm glad she got that money. I hope that she used some of that money to set her life right. I hope she used some of that money to get to talk to some therapists and to get some help. And furthermore, I hope she gets a lot more money when this is all said and done. She might not have the joy of seeing Jeffrey Epstein be trotted out and perp walked, but at the very least, these women should be compensated. At the very least, they should be compensated. After that first week, all the papers around the world were looking for her, remembers Michael, himself a father of 3. We squirreled them away for a while in a holiday park up the coast. It certainly wasn't very luxurious. Too many people were looking for her to go anywhere glamorous. It was manic, and it was not easy for them. There were questions constantly. Everything was getting checked 3 or 4 times by the lawyers. And reading her words in the paper were hard for her and, as a husband, for Robert. Man, think about her husband. Think about the way her husband must feel. Think about that for a minute, folks. If it was me, I have to tell you, I would be on my own jihad to find these people. I'm talking Liam Neeson type shit. This is absolutely, I can't even imagine being in his shoes right now. I cannot even imagine. Someone disrespects my girlfriend or I'd smash their head in. Never mind what these people have done to this poor girl. You know, there's not much that launches me into orbit and turns me into a person who wants to bring pain to people, but to hurting women, hurting girls, I can't abide by it. I've never understood this shit. I've never understood dudes who feel like they have to exert control over women physically. It's gross. It's disgusting. It makes me so mad. She was having to relive all this and at the same time having to parent her children. We went to a kangaroo park, went to the beach, and had pizzas, but there was no champagne, no celebration. No. The whole thing was hard and stressful for everyone involved. Now remember, folks, this is Michael Thomas, the photographer who was the first person to see these pictures from Virginia Roberts, the real pictures. 30 years experience, and this is his explanation of what it was like and what he thinks about those pictures. And according to him, a man who's been in war, who's been behind the lens for 30 years, been in really hard situations, and has analyzed a lot of photographs. Not only did he analyze the photograph, but he truly 100% believes Virginia Roberts' story. And again, it is absolutely positively disgusting to me to even think that people do not believe what this poor girl is talking about. She's maintained the story forever, and nobody ever cared, nobody ever stood up, nobody ever was there to help her. Well, guess what, folks? That shit's over. Here we are. We're here, right? Us content creators, everybody listening, independent journalists, this photographer. You got some allies now, Virginia. You're not on your own. Believe that. Believe that. We ran stories for 3 weeks in a row, and it was only after everything had settled down that Virginia was able to move back to the house. As the world knows, however, that was far from the end of the story. Now, with Andrew an outcast from his own family, Epstein dead by suicide, allegedly, in his jail cell, and Ghislaine Maxwell vanished without a trace, Virginia and other victims continue to fight for justice, starting with their desire to see Andrew submit to questioning under oath. Yep. Under oath, Andrew, let's go. What are you waiting for? I thought you were going to do all the required steps you needed to do there, Handsy Andy. You dullard, you buffoon, you damn moron. I hope she gets it in the end, says Michael. She was just a kid. Wow. And there you have it, folks. So let's go ahead and just kill all of the stupid picture BS, right? Let's go ahead and kill Andrew's stupid excuse that the picture was doctored. It was not doctored. Nobody else has said it's doctored but his inside circle, his bootlickers. So let's just kill that thought of reasoning right away. All right? So Andrew has questions he needs to answer. He has questions that need to be answered, and they need to be answered now, and they need to be answered under oath. That is the only way out for him. One way or the other, there's a reckoning coming. And I hope Prince Andrew knows that in 2020, it is the year the predator turns into the prey. All right, folks, if you'd like to contact me, you can do that at Bobbycapucci at protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI at protonmail.com. If you would like to support the show, you can click on the GoFundMe link in the description box. I'll be back later on this afternoon with another Evolution of the Epstein Chronicles segment. And then, of course, I'll be back for the Daily Drop later on tonight. I hope that everybody enjoys their day. I will talk to you all later on.